Chapter 47, in which the story of Princess Kitty nears its end. It is clear that something had changed inside the city of Kodono forever. Clearly, nothing will ever be the same again because of one cat girl princess from another world. Although she makes herself known, her destiny has yet to be fulfilled, affecting those around her, enough to change the way people saw the world. After the incident, Market Square was immediately closed off to the public. Those who lived there were forced to move to different parts of the city. The city was polite enough to give the occupants a temporary home, whether it's in an apartment or a nice hotel, with all expenses paid. On the other side of the world, the news of the incident drove the WAPA to quickly assemble a meeting. The company's chairman, Daniel Ross, and 10 members of the board were shocked at first. However, even though strong gales are unpredictable and manage to cause dirigibles to go out of control, even though the citizens of Empire City harshly criticized the WAPA for beginning a new chapter into a golden age, that doesn't mean it's going to be the beginning of the end. They'll have better luck next year with the Valkyrie. Ross knows that there will be airships like the departed Providence, sophisticated and safer than ever. However, it will take 2 more years before one incident in New Jersey ends the golden age for good. To the yokai, especially the Cat Queen, after what has happened on June 9th, it is considered the beginning. The incident during the bicentennial is not only a message to anyone who lives in Kodono that the audacity of brushing unnatural things off like it meant nothing will not be tolerated in the presence of the yokai, but as a punishment to everyone in Kodono, especially Mayor Donovan, for refusing to believe and welcome Princess Kitty. What happened on that fateful day is enough to send a clear message to everyone that the yokai themselves, like Princess Kitty, deserve to exist here. The yokai made it clear that the thoughts of precision and order in Kodono, in which mankind depend on for 200 years because of the cat girl's existence, will be erased from human thought and memory forever. Immediately after his release with a sling on his left arm, Mayor Donovan quickly assembled a meeting with the council. He was once ruthless and domineering, with his handsome face on every campaign poster insisting his re-election next year. But now, he was merely a shell of his former self, and at his wit's end. He still refused to ask questions of the press, because given of what Miss Lenoir actually looked like, it made him paranoid, making him unable to trust anyone, any woman with blonde hair. He already saw the frightening face of the Cat Queen, with her large fangs and her yellow eyes. The Cat Queen may be anyone, frightening him when she had a chance. I don't know what is real and who's who in this world anymore, Mayor Donovan said. I need more time to plan the ceremony for the girl. Mayor, what's the worst this cat creature's going to do? Bring forth the apocalypse? Councilman Thorne asked. Do you mind stop stressing and listen to yourself? Even after being allowed to leave, you still refuse to see anyone. You even refuse to ask questions to the press involving that incident 2 weeks ago. I already know what she looks like, Mr. Thorne, Mayor Donovan said. The other cat creature. The tall one. I throw up at the hospital every time I try to eat something. I have nightmares every night. I swear she's been watching my every move and even know what I'm thinking. Whether I'm awake, sleeping, relaxed, or even involved in a conversation with someone, I cannot escape from her. No wonder you couldn't trust anyone, Councilman Thorne said. You must be out of your mind. Must be, dare I say to you, deluded. Especially after you've been arrested for assaulting a blonde-haired nurse. She did it to me. She's the reason why I've been arrested. I've tried to explain it to the other officers, but nobody believed me. Not even the staff. Councilman Thorne smirked, chuckling. Just be lucky that your wife bailed you out, huh? Nobody wants to see the future daddy locked up. But can you imagine how much damage your reputation has gotten? Probably enough to make you lose your chance of re-election. I mean it, Mayor Darvin said. She could be anyone. Any woman with blonde hair. What's wrong with blonde-haired women? I think they're attractive, not to mention gorgeous, like that young bombshell Jean Harlow from Reckless. Boy, does that dove sing or what? By the way, Councilman Oak said, what was the name of that nurse you've attacked, Mayor? I can tell you, Jason, Councilman Thorne said. Her name is Lena Dupree. She works at the hospital the mayor's in for his broken arm. She's not like the others, Mr. Thorne, Mayor Donovan said. It's Miss Lenoir, the cat creature. She tried to get me into more trouble that I'm already in. And you may think that the only way for all this to stop is to welcome this cat girl to Gadono, Princess Kitty. What other choice do I have, Mr. Thorne? This is my one chance to make things right with this cat girl. Make amends. I want everything to be perfect. I want it all perfect. You already tried that with the bicentennial, Councilman Seitz said. And you know how that turned out. Mr. Seitz, twice in my life I've been punished. One during the bicentennial, and the other when I was arrested, Mayor Darvin said. If only she cared that I had been punished enough. But I don't think my repentance after what happened on the 9th won't be enough to be forgiven by that terrifying monster. So what day are you suggesting for a ceremony? Councilman Thorne asked. How about a month, That'll be enough time to plan everything. I'm giving you a suggestion, Mayor. At least, give it some thought if you want this madness to be over. It has to be, in order for things to go back to normal, gentlemen, Mayor Darvin said. Next Sunday's the end of June. Given that a month will be enough, I shall welcome Princess Kitty to Gadono on the last Monday of July. The 29th? Councilman Thorne asked. Yes, Mayor Donovan said. From now on, things will be different. At least I'll be forgiven by the girl after what I did to her. Not only will I promise everyone in Gadono after what happened, including the rest of you, I will promise the girl, Princess Kitty. Councilman Thorne smirked, then took off his glasses. Indeed you will, he said. Thank you. That's all I needed to hear from you. What? Mayor Darvin asked. Mr. Thorne, Councilman Oaks said, why did you take off your glasses? Don't you need them to see? But Councilman Thorne didn't answer. He stood up and faced Mayor Donovan. What do you call a little mistake that makes you lose everything and make life even more worse for everyone? You have no idea who you're promising to in this room, did you? Look, I have no idea what you're talking about, Mayor Darvin said. Can't you see that I've been suffering enough? As a matter of fact, I never had, Councilman Thorne said. Not even your repentance is enough to get you out of trouble. As for forgiving you for what you did to Kitty, if only I had the audacity to do so, it won't be enough. I suggest you better keep your word, because I will wait no longer, Donovan. The fuse is now lit, and the countdown has begun. Mr. Thorne, Mayor Donovan said, what are you saying? What has gotten into you lately? What fuse? The countdown to what? Suddenly, in front of the mayor and his council, Councilman Thorne began to transform, becoming taller and covered in fur, causing his suit to stretch, especially two large orbs that formed onto his chest. The ears shift to the top of his head and became pointed, as his brown hair became blonde and grows wild. His teeth grew into fangs, and his face became cat-like, and his eyes becoming yellow with black slit pupils, and a long tail jutting out from behind. Then he snarled with a loud hiss towards Mayor Donovan, making him jump out of his seat, screaming, as well as several of the council. Councilwoman Michelson is too paralyzed to scream at the sight of what was once Councilman Thorne.
No! Stay back!
Mayor Donovan screamed, waving his hand around. But the Cat Queen already lunged towards him and grasped him by the neck before pinning him hard against the wall, then snarled at his face. At the same time, he can feel something warm and wet down his lower extremities. "Leave him alone!" Councilman Oak shouted. "He'll do whatever you want!" While keeping her eyes on the mayor, she shot out her other arm, stretching it long enough to grasp Councilman Oaks by the neck, choking him. "Next time," she hissed, "never speak to a queen when she's angry." Then she grabs him from the back of his neck and slams his head against the table, knocking him out. "Anyone else?" she snarled. But no one in the boardroom said a word, nor moved a muscle.
Please!
Mayor Donovan whimpered.
I will welcome the girl this time. What else is it that you want me to do?
"Have you tried begging for your life yet?" she snarled.
No!
He sobbed.
I don't want to die. Don't kill me, please. I have a wife. I have a loving wife. And she's having a baby.
"Oh, don't worry about her. I'll make sure I pay her a little visit after I leave."
Don't you care about what I've been through? Can't you see that I'm sorry for what I've done? Even drove away Kitty.
"Not only did you promise all of Cadono," she snarled, "not only did you promise the Princess Kitty, but what is worse, you promised me. You break your word, I will know, and so will they. You break it, you know exactly what I will do to you."
No!
He whimpered.
Please!
"Keep screaming, Donovan. Scream for help. Scream for mercy. Utter one sound. No one's around to save you. Not even the girl." Then she hurls him across the room. He feebly gets to his feet and coughed. "Don't know what is real and who's who in this world anymore, eh, Donovan?" she taunted. "And to think you can't trust a blonde-haired woman. What's funny is that I didn't say anything about any human being, male or the opposite. As for Lena Dupree, the nurse you have assaulted and decided to file charges against you out of spite, perhaps you're just too stupid to know what she really is. Just a mask." Of course nobody believed you, because they know when to stop believing in fairy tales. The hard question was, who wouldn't?
I deserve what I got.
He sobbed.
I've deserved to be beaten within an inch of my life until I can't walk. But I don't want to be hurt anymore by you. I've learned my lesson.
He can feel the back of his head gripped from behind, and before he can turn to see, the side of his face slammed onto the table, while the councilman gasped. The Cat Queen was behind him, and holding his head down. Who said you learned your lesson after the bicentennial? She growled. Mayor Donovan gasped when he saw her black claw aiming towards his eye. I don't think you do, she said. Just think of what I conceived just for you. Mayor Donovan tries to struggle in freeing himself, but she holds him down hard. You understand what happens if you don't listen? She asked. Do you think it's the right thing to believe in what's real, and brush anything unreal off by driving them away? He whimpered.
Please don't!
I could enjoy every moment of killing you right in front of your pathetic council, she said. My claw should be long enough to pierce your brain after it goes through your eye. Maybe then she would be satisfied. The one. But lucky for you, you will live to see another day. Killing you before the big day would be unwise. You will live long enough for you to welcome her. Instead of killing you, I'll just keep breaking you and breaking you. I'm more than just a freak, just as your citizens consider addressing me as, Donovan. I'm the creature that brings forth disorder and consternation out of either pure spite or ennui. Every time you close your eyes, you will only see me in the dark. Every time you look in the mirror, you won't see yourself. You will see my reflection staring back at you. Whenever there's silence, you'll only hear my voice. Every time you interfere with me, consider your life made even worse. This is what shall await you until the big day, Fritz Roger Donovan. No matter what you wish, no matter where you go, no matter how much you beg, there is nothing you can do about it. I am...
No!
Then he began to cry as she lets him go, making him back against the corner. Councilman Sight steps in to face the Cat Queen, demanding, Who the devil do you think you are, How dare you hurt him after he's been punished enough? Years of practice, darling, purred the Cat Queen, her voice now unagitated towards him. If you're an imposter this whole time during this meeting, then where is the real Thorn? He demanded. What did you do to him? However, he can hear a terrifying scream from the secretary outside the boardroom. Well, you're in luck, purred the Cat Queen, protruding her black claw at Councilman Sights. I think somebody found him. Remembering his ordeal at the pavilion, Councilman Sights backed away. Please, Councilman Norris said, let us settle this without any difficulty or what have you. I'm sure we can come to some compromise that is... Compromise? purred the Cat Queen, seeing the fear grip him. There'll be no time to compromise. Neither will there be time to run or scream. Councilman Norris has no time to scream, just as he felt a sting on the back of his neck before collapsing to the ground. The remaining councilpersons can only watch as the Cat Queen turned and faced Mayor Donovan again. I mean what I say, Donovan, she went on. This is your last chance. Do you understand that? In this room, I'm not the creature who is willing to negotiate or to compromise. I already have your city wrapped around my finger, so you better watch what you say and what you do, unless you want to be in more trouble than you're already in. This ultimatum is not only for you, It is for everyone. The Princess Kitty will be welcomed for good, and I will not be indecisive to make your torment the least of your worries. Gloating, seeing Mayor Donovan even more subdued, she addressed the council before leaving the boardroom. The clock is ticking, and since I got nothing else to say to all of you, I hereby declare this meeting adjourned. And I do hope you had another clock with you. I hear a certain one in Market Square is still broken. Councilman Seitz can hear the mayor break down.
I can hear her inside my head. If I could go away.
Councilman Seitz put one hand on the mayor's shoulder. Then the mayor lost control of himself. The discipline and haughtiness he had in Kodono disintegrated by this inhuman creature. He lay down on the ground and pounded his head with his hands. He screamed, "Get out of my head!" It didn't take long for the remaining councilpersons to restrain him. The Cat Queen didn't make it far from the boardroom. Already, she can see security guards in front of him, with Alice, the secretary, accompanying them. She points at the Cat Queen and cries to the guards, "That's the one! That might be the monster who did this to Carmine!" One of the guards stepped forward, pointing his gun at her. "Stop right where you are!" he ordered. "That's pretty much your answer to everything. Kill someone who is a monster," purred the Cat Queen, slowly taking a step. "I will not ask again!" he shouted. She snarls at them, feeling her spine popping as she slightly stretched, making her taller. The harder you try to interfere with the unknown, the more worse things are sure to become for everyone. There is no hiding from the unknown that will soon take over your city. Its name is the Princess Kitty. Immediately, the guards opened fire at her. While blood streamed from her wounds, she calmly sauntered towards them and protruded her black claw. Then she jabs it in the back of the neck of one guard, before doing the same to the other. The secretary is too paralyzed to scream when she saw the bloodless carnage brought by the Cat Queen. The Cat Queen turned her head to face Alice. "I gave them a chance," purred the Cat Queen. "It isn't my fault they blew it." She lets out a deranged snarl to the secretary's face, and at the same instant, the secretary can feel the unfamiliar stinging pain from behind her neck. Another party has started, hours after closing time, at the Trevally Ballroom. Another full house, the yokai dancing and singing, others in lengthy conversation, the band playing, Shakuchi playing his guitar to Tanuki children, the ones who didn't learn how to transform yet, while telling them the ballad of Princess Kitty like an old minstrel. Although it was unfinished, the black cats, Haruka and Minako, tearing up the upholstery to possibly invoke the ire and confusion of the staff in the morning. The Tanuki couple, Takashi and Miyu, making out in one of the booths, while Daichi spends his time getting drunk from champagne. Backstage, the Cat Queen was with Ryutaro and his mistress. Like last time, the Cat Queen wore her black clothes, which were slightly small to fit her shapely figure. The end of her story is upon us, as does the end of the month, she said. As soon as the 29th of July came to Kodono, and when her destiny is fulfilled, then she will fulfill our own. Indeed she will, Ryutaro said. She gave us her word. I'm certain she will keep it. Well, I always knew there exists another word for destiny, fate, she said, seethingly. By keeping her word and fulfilling our destiny, she is willing to seal the fate of this entire city. As how the story should go, my queen. Should she hesitate, she will only expect the consequences for hesitation. I hear that Mr. Takahata, the man who is loyal to you, had been recently reinstated to the city council since the incident, and he shall return within a week. Oh yes, him. He's no longer under the influence of my toy. It's already destroyed. So now he's gone back to being like everybody else. A real price to pay, I suppose. And after he managed to know some of the yokai in my book, especially calling you Shineko often. Now that is a name we haven't heard since the Edo period. Never mind what I'm called. Tell me of what Mr. Takahata have known. You should have been to the library instead of being cooped up in your room. He was fascinated with most of them, aside from the Bakineko and the Tanuki. Although he had a fondness for Yuki Onna, Wakuro Kyubi, Joro Gumo, Gashado Kyoro, Kaso Bake, Su Nyobo, the Kappa, and the Yonaki Baba. He had a fondness for Karasuju the most. Oh, is he? I'd expect him to have a deep fondness of Fukuroju, another avian monster that's equally as dangerous as Karasuju. However, they, along with Yukai no Tori, were songbirds compared to Horo no Tori, the wandering bird. I've also heard that he was wondering if he can be a yokai himself, and that was before the incident. She wastes no time to ponder for about a few moments before chuckling richly to herself. What's funny? He asked. I was thinking that he'd make a great Karasuju, she said. Wouldn't you say, darling? You can't be serious, are you? I know what the crow beast is like. I've even wrote about it in my book. I know. And if he does choose to become one upon death, what will become of his wife and his little girl? Given that his mind will disappear, he would only see them as prey. Well, he does have his life ahead of him. Unless... Then Ganta came into the room. Queen! I do believe it's time. Why else would we show up again? Indeed it is, darling, purred the Cat Queen. I'll be there in a minute. Ganta can feel his face grimace as he mutters, I wish you still call me that. As soon as Ganta left, Ryutaro said to her, I'm already aware that you've made another visit to City Hall just to see Donovan again. This time, without me and your old man. But I'm glad you did. Our presence will be the least of his worries. I'm not a bit surprised if he lost control of his bladder into paranoia as I scare him straight, she said. You could say that I left a mark on him. The fuse is lit, and I'm the one holding the match. He nodded, feeling a sense of wrath within him. Well then, the yokai are all looking forward to what you're going to say to them. I will be sitting among them with my beloved, and near enough to hear you. You and your mistress have my consent, she said. And the engineer. His objections shall remain unavailing to me, all for the sake of the one. As soon as Ryutaro and his mistress sit beside each other among the rest of the yokai, the Cat Queen arrived on the stage. She signaled the orchestra to stop playing and have the yokai turn their heads to her. There was murmuring anxiety in the voices. Little groups gathered like knots. "Our exaltation is close at hand," she announced through the ring microphone. "We are all assembled here today for a necessary and methodical reason. As the high supporter to the Princess Kitty, I have a special responsibility to see that her destiny is fulfilled, as it is carefully written. And right now, we are near the end." "Indeed we are," Chorui shouted. "We've all waited for this day for too long." There were scattered shouts of agreement through the gathering. "It will be the last month you all shall waiting for the fuse to reach the keg," put the Cat Queen. "The 29th of July will be the day Kodono and everyone in it will remember for the rest of their lives. That, of course, has everything to do with the Princess Kitty. Not seeing something that isn't real is just as stupid as not believing in it. I have, if I may say so, been overly supportive of her. At last, she'll receive the happy ending she desperately deserved. She will be welcomed to Kodono at the end of July. She gave us her solemn word that when her destiny is fulfilled, she must fulfill ours. That, of course, will determine the fate of the future of this place she wants to call home." Asuka called out, "Has it, my queen? What shall become of Kodono after the thoughts of precision and order is no more? Should we remake this entire city into a place where we coexist with humanity and torment those who oppose us hundredfold? Should it be our destiny that she must fulfill?" The Cat Queen can see Madame Nagakubi stretch her neck, hovering over the throng, calling out, "Those who can coexist with us, we shall make them subordinate." Subordinate! She can feel herself seized up, as if she was shot. As in inferior? Well, we can do more than making mankind subordinate, don't we? Among the crowd, the engineer swallowed in a throat that's dry, thinking, "This is all gone too far. All too far. Everyone around me has gone mad." Do any of you ever get tired of seeing a man kill himself in the streets by jumping off a tall building after losing the will to live? The Cat Queen demanded. "Well, you sure as bogs don't," Daichi shouted. "You never get tired of seeing an earthquake striking a town, or a tsunami, or even an ocean liner sinking when it hits a reef. Every time you were there laughing off your tail." "Because it's funny!" she snapped. "Death is funny when it happens to someone else, even if they're almost dead. I say this as fact, but now I think I found something that's even more funny, destined to left even the merciless and unforgiving of yokai in stitches." "Waters!" Takashi rang out. "What do you call a city full of 300,000 men, women, and children that no longer exists?" I don't think they'll ever know the answer, would they? That is what shall happen if Kodono doesn't welcome the Princess Kitty. Utter stillness gripped the ballroom. Gonta cleared his throat. "Regarding the one, it seems things may not end good for her, with the society all around her. Nothing could be more remote from fact." "Indeed things won't," she said. "You all know me too well. Anything I say to you is ordained. I already have the entirety of Kodono wrapped around my claw, every single inch of this place. All it takes is one little refusal to seal Kodono's fate forever. As much as I seldom dislike humanity, I'm certain that her welcoming will ensure that such fate won't ever come to pass," Gonta exclaimed. He fell back half a step. "That means it's over." "If you're talking about normal, ordinary life in here," she said. What else would I be talking about? Naked gophers? Then that means you find me faithful that I would have the entire city be condemned by the unknown. A swift, merciless death, no doubt. Something Kitty won't like. What will happen if they do welcome her? Miu asked. By the time they welcome her, purred the Cat Queen, we shall consider ourselves an infection. An infection so subtle, so pernicious, so irreversible, it shall spread to all the corners of the city, to every house, every flat, every hotel and shop, until there's nothing left to infect. Until it infects someplace else surrounding it. The infection will be slow, enough that even what's left of the old generation will live long enough to see it, as do with the newer generation, their children, their children's children, and the grandchildren of their children. Let this moment define the future, and in time, even the entire world shall know her name, who is responsible for all of this, and who is the cause of our infection. The One! Then, in one swift gesture, Gauntar raised his fist and shouted among the throng, loud enough to hear, Long may she reign! The Princess Kitty! A deafening roar filled the ballroom, echoed and re-echoed. They were cheering and chanting. Kanojo ga konen shimasu yu ni! Princess Kitty! Princess Kitty! Princess Kitty! Kanojo ga konen shimasu yu ni! Then they resumed their night, as the Cat Queen turned to the engineer, who approached her. Oh, I know the answer all right, he said. Kadana will cease to exist if she is not welcomed. You'll do anything to make these people believe. He could see the Cat Queen smirk widely from ear to ear. Darling, I'm not discussing any more about this with you, she cooed. Don't you bloody care that there are innocent people living in this place? He demanded. The men, the women, even the children! Whatever happens to this city at the end is entirely up to her. I know she will, for she is the One. You bloody wait until I tell the One about what you and the bloody rest are going to do to Kodono, the engineer said. Oh, yes, purred the Cat Queen. About that. How are you going to do that? He's about to say something, but he can't. That's because his mouth was now non-existent from his face. Every time he panicked, his scream became muffled. You think I'm going to do something horrible to this city? She said. Well, I got another one for you. Who do you think is able to control the pawns? Already knowing that she had done this, he is about to reach for her neck to strangle it, but his arms are suddenly grabbed and twisted backwards by those two black cats. Show him the way out, she ordered. Already, Haruka and Minako, with their immense grip, dragged the kicking and screaming engineer away from her presence, and out of the ballroom. She remains on stage with all the yokai, gloating. Now all the careful provisions of the yokai were here at last, coming to full fruition. The beginning of the end of normal life. The erasure of precision and order. The Cat Queen can already see the future that shall await them all on the 29th of July. When that day comes, Kodono shall endure the lingering of all the yokai, which was brought into existence by the One. Ryutaro approached her. You've said so yourself about the definition of the past and of the present, my queen. All that is left now is the definition of the future of this world, and it shall be done by us. She turned to him, snarling. Thus the countdown to the end has begun. No one must ever know what is to come, Not even the one. Princess Kitty had been in the city of Kodono now for 7 weeks. Now that she's reunited with Todd and Audrey, after her 3-week expedition, she makes it clear that she'll remain in the neighborhood against the grandparents' wishes. Right now, while the Pratchett children are inside their playhouse, she was sitting on the roof, frequently alone with her thoughts, while staring ahead at the tall colored buildings like a multitude of giants. With every minute that passes, her mind is like a ball, falling again and again into the same series of slots. She had only 10 thoughts. The yokai she encountered, the summit bicentennial, the strong winds and the screaming, Mayor Donovan, the Providence, the clock tower, Todd and Audrey in danger again, the agreement, the Cat Queen, her own destiny. For now, Princess Kitty seemed to be oblivious to the unseen flame that ran swiftly along the fuse which the Cat Queen has lit. Inside the Pratchett's living room, in spite of Princess Kitty saving the children weeks ago, they were still stubborn towards her. However, they too are oblivious of what's to come at the end of July. The city only had one more chance.
I still insist this girl should never have come into our lives,
Grandpa David said.
I've been saying this time and time again. Same here,
Grandma Liza protested.
Even though she saved them,
Grandma Eileen said.
We will not tolerate this sort of nonsense from her.
We're all fine as we are before she came here. I can't possibly believe you 3 are still biased towards her, Mrs. Pratchett said. How long before you finally yield and accept her?
We'll yield all right when we're dead, so we don't have to look at her anymore,
Grandpa David snapped. You heard what Kitty said, Grandpa Jack said. She's in this family whether you lot like it or not. Do you actually think we're better off after what happened? The incident with the dirigible didn't happen a long time ago. It happened recently.
I will not tolerate that sort of talk about the dirigible anymore in this house, Jack,
Grandma Eileen said.
I mean what I say. Dirigibles like that can never be trusted. And if I ever hear some news of another one up in the air...
The next moment, there came the buzzing of their doorbell. I'll get it, Grandpa Jack insisted. Then he gets out of bed and makes his way to the front door in the foyer. As soon as he opened the door, there stood a young postman with a bulky canvas bag over his shoulder and a letter in his hand. Yes, can I help you? Grandpa Jack asked. Yes, you can, the postman said. Is Princess Kitty with you? Yes, she's here. What do you want? I've been requested to give her this letter. It's urgent. Grandpa Jack takes the letter from him. Well, who's it from? From the mayor. Make sure he gets it. Very well. I'll see that he does. Then the postman left without further ado, while Grandpa Jack makes his way to the backyard. From up on the roof, Princess Kitty can see Grandpa Jack emerge from the back door with the letter.
Hey, Jack!
She calls out. Grandpa Jack turned and looked up at her. Get down here, Kitty. This letter's for you from the mayor.
Really?
She asked. She leaps off the roof and lands in front of him. He then hands her the letter. Using her claw, she rips the envelope open and pulls out a folded note out of it. Once she unfolds it, then she began reading.
To Princess Kitty, the cat girl. This letter you received is not only an apology from me, but it is an important pronouncement.
For the great things you've done, you'll be officially welcomed to the city of Kodono on the 29th of July at the Kodono Fairground where the bicentennial was once held. As compensation, you shall be given a luxury suite at the historic Hotel Adriano under your name, with all expenses paid by the city itself. You will find it fully stocked with everything you will need. But that's not all. As a newfound influence to my city, you shall be rewarded with your own Appreciation Day as a national holiday every July 29th. There in the fairground, you shall be given the key to the city, as well as a ceremonial crown and a lavish throne for our astonishment and affection. With you here, the city is no longer an ordinary place. In small ways, it is like they realize they're living in a special place now, and started being special people, a bit more understanding. I merely hope we shall finally meet in person, instead of only seeing my face on a campaign poster, and you accepting my penitence and reclamation to you. F. R. Donovan,
Mayor of Cardano.
The Adriano he should, Grandpa Jack asked. I can't believe that hotel still stands. Suppose I did miss a lot of things after being cooped up.
No need to feel ashamed, Jack.
Princess Kay said.
You'll have all the time you need.
What is it, Kitty? Todd asked, after he steps in along with his sister. Kitty is getting her own holiday on the 29th of next month, Grandpa Jack said. An appreciation day. Can you believe it? That made the children gleeful as they both hug her. Oh, Kitty, Audrey squeaked. That'll be so wonderful.
Oh, yes,
Princess Kay laughed.
I couldn't agree more.
So now what? Todd asked.
I shall head to the hotel at once.
Princess Kay said.
Donovan does want me to stay there.
Then I'll drive you, Grandpa Jack insisted. I know it is, but first, we need to tell the others. He heads to the living room with Princess Kitty and the grandchildren following behind. He hands the letter to the other grandparents and said, You see this? Read it and weep. Kitty has her own national holiday now. Now you all can understand why she's not important, and why it's important that she needs to call this world home.
Oh, she has, hasn't she?
Grandpa David asked softly.
From the mayor, no less.
Grandma Eliza said.
Perhaps we've been too coarse about you, Kitty.
Grandma Eileen said sorrowfully.
Oh, I do hope you can forgive the three of us.
Princess Kay slowly nodded.
The way I see it, I would. Now about you three who haven't had the will to head outside, far from home. Why, look at Jack. He doesn't have the confidence to do so. So why shouldn't you?
Eventually, with the creaking of bed springs, the three grandparents managed to slowly leave the bed and head out the front door.
Do you think it will be nice if we celebrate with you at the fairground?
Grandma Eliza asked.
I want all my friends to celebrate, including Giff, Mr. Copley, and any grown-up I've met,
Princess Kay said.
We have a long way to go, until the end of July.
She turned to Grandpa Jack.
I'm ready to go now.
The children both hugged their friend. We'll come visit you, Todd insisted.
Why, of course.
Princess Kitty said, hugging them back.
Like my grown-up friends, you can always visit for as long as you dare like.
Feeling a sense of nostalgia, Grandpa Jack can only smile as he saw the glistening, ornate facade of the Hotel Adriano from the driver's seat of the family car, with Princess Kitty strapped onto the back seat. It is a tall, 7-story building with cream-colored bricks and brown shingles. I suppose things change a lot since I attended the party back in '85, Grandpa Jack said.
We do live in modern times, Jack,
Princess Kitty said, while she exits the car.
Sometimes buildings like these need to be modernized for another generation, although some didn't change at all.
Well, now that you're here, I shall be going back. I wish you all the best when you're shelled there. I shall meet you again. Then he drove off. Upon entering, passing through the lobby with large crystal chandeliers hanging above her, Princess Kitty immediately approached the reception desk.
Say, is there a luxury suite under my name, sir?
She asked an old clerk by the name of Arthur Camden. As a matter of fact, there is, he said, smiling. And you must be Princess Kitty, right? Why, the mayor told me about you when he came here. He does spare no expense.
Is he?
She asked.
Is Donovan still here?
His visit's short-lived. He has to make preparations. Tomorrow's the first day of July.
And where shall I find my suite?
Top floor, room 729. Now, I'll have someone to take you to your room.
No need for that, sir.
Right then. Just call me Mr. Camden. If there's anything you need during your stay, please let me know. You'll find me in this lobby behind the reception desk. Just follow the signs. He hands her the key to her suite. We hope you enjoy your stay at the Adriano. Right away, she takes the lift up to the top floor and into her suite on room 729. Upon entering, she doesn't expect anything lavish. Perhaps she was incorrect about this place being modernized, in spite of some new technologies present, like the radio, and the phone, and the desk fan. It was a room with pink wallpaper and chocolate-colored paneling on the lower walls. A large crystal chandelier hung from the ceiling. Inside was a canopy bed with rose-colored drapes and a plush bedspread. A white vanity table with a circular mirror, and a desk with linen stationery bearing the name Hotel Adriano. All around the room was decorated with glass vases filled with fresh roses. Staring out the window, she can see the buildings of Cadorno, especially the damaged clock tower at a distance, a painful reminder to all of what happened to its steeple and the statue on top of it.
My time will come, Cadorno,
she whispered.
My destiny will be fulfilled. Forgive me.
Then, unable to look outside any longer, she closed the curtains.